Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Marwa, and I'm from Global Cendekia Health Vocational School. The topic today is this house believes that political dynasties bring more harm than good to democracy. Before we discuss this further, let's discuss what a political dynasty is. A political dynasty is a system in which political power and public office are inherited or dominated by members of a particular family, often from one generation to the next. This term refers to the phenomenon in which family members of a politician, whether currently in power or formerly in power, participate in politics and hold public office. Political dynasties can be categorized as a form of neopatrimonialism, where political control is maintained through family ties or close personal relationship. Political dynasties are very different from the ideal principles of democracy, where power must be exercised based on the competence and will of the people. However, there are also other reasons why political dynasties emerge in Indonesia. First is the desire within individuals or families to hold power. Second, the existence of organized groups based on agreement and togetherness within the group, resulting in the formation of group rulers and group followers. Third, there is collaboration between rulers and business people to combine the power of capital with the power of politicians. Despite the risk, it's unfair to assume that all political dynasties are inherently bad. In fact, their presence in politics can bring stability, experience, and strong network, which can ultimately be valuable assets for a nation. Political dynasties can also serve as bridges between generations, where young leaders learn from experience of their predecessors to build a better future. The focus on political dynasties as the primary cause of democratic failure often overlooks the crucial role of meritocracy. As long as voters remain informed and choose leaders based on quality, competence, and track record, not just family name, political dynasties will not pose a threat. Rather, the problem lies in weak political education and a less transparent system, not the existence of dynasties themselves. Blaming political dynasties as the primary cause of democratic failure is an oversimplification. Political dynasties are merely a product of the system, not the root of the problem. As long as voters still have the right to vote and state institutions operate independently, the presence of someone from a political family does not automatically threaten democracy. We should focus more on strengthening democratic institutions themselves. For example, by ensuring fair election, fighting corruption, and improving public political education. With a strong system, political dynasties will only survive if they can prove their quality and competence, not because of their family name. So instead of banning political dynasties, we should strengthen democracy to eliminate incompetent candidates regardless of their family name. Not all political dynasties have negative impacts. Some have positive impacts, including stability and sustainability. Political dynasties can provide political stability and continuity of government programs. This occurs because successors from within the family generally have a deep understanding of the policies and vision formulated by their predecessors. Family members who succeed to power tend to have been involved in previous decision-making processes, enabling them to continue existing programs more smoothly. The second is experience and networks. Family members who continue Political dynasties often possess extensive experience and networks, which can be important assets in governing and achieving development goals. Dynastic politics has existed not only after the Reform era but has flourished since the New Order era, centered on the Suharto family or the Cendana family. Surrounding the Cendana family, other political dynasties have emerged, known as the Cendana family's cronies. However, dynastic politics at that time was not very open because the political system was not yet open. However, in the current reform era, political dynasties have become more popular and often come under public scrutiny because the political system in Indonesia has become more open. The narrative that completely rejects political dynasties as detrimental to democracy is overly simplistic and ignores the complex dynamics behind the phenomenon. In many developed countries, including the United States and India, political families have long been part of the political landscape and have successfully produced highly influential and globally recognized leaders. The main problem is not who become a politician, but rather the mechanism and system that enable them to rule. If a country has a transparent electoral system, independent media, and a critical public, political dynasties will not pose a major threat. The public can freely judge whether a candidate deserves to lead based on their competence or simply because of their family name. Therefore, we should focus on strengthening political education and enforcing fair laws rather than simply accusing political dynasties. That way, we can ensure that the elected leaders, regardless of background, are the best for the nation. The absolute rejection of political dynasties as a detriment to democracy is a simplistic view that ignores the complex dynamics behind this phenomenon. In many developed nations, including the United States and India, political family has been long heard. Conclusion: ultimately, the debate about political dynasties should not end in either rejection or acceptance, but rather on how we can build a democratic system so strong that the existence of political dynasties is not a threat, but merely one of many choices that must be held accountable to the public. Thank you for your attention.